And again, 12 is our first swing high because that's our first mountaintop. And then it turns and starts changing directions. Then 11 is also a swing low, but our first swing low was 10, and 11 is higher than 10, so that makes 11 a higher low because it's still a swing low. It's a higher swing low than the swing low of 10. So it's a higher low. But 12 is a swing high, and then our next swing high is 14, but 14 is greater than 12, so that makes 14 a higher high, and so forth. And higher highs plus higher lows equals an uptrend. All right. So when you see a structure showing higher highs plus higher lows, that equals evidence of an uptrend. Now, Tony, why would higher lows matter? All right. So suppose your price goes from $10 to $15, right? And then it falls. If it was to fall all the way down to like $7, that's important. That's different from it going to $10 to $12 and then down a little bit to $11. If we tanking all the way down to 7, it tells us that we might start going downwards instead of it being just a little stair climbing. Because remember, I told you trends don't normally just travel in a straight line. Normally we have pullbacks. So 10 to 12, pulling back a little bit to 11, shooting back up to 14, that's not really a big deal. But if you have 10 to 12 and then you shoot all the way down to 7, and then you might go back up to 9, we might be changing directions. Remember, trend is context. We're seeing where our price is traveling. So those high lows, they still show us that we're still, even though we're pulling back in the price from the swing highs, we're still traveling upwards. We're still going in an upwards direction. All right. Now, also, I just brought in another vocabulary word, which is pullback, and we will be talking about that in a sec, okay? But before we talk about that, we're going to flip this upside down because we need to talk about lower highs and lower lows. All right. Now, we got the TJP starting price was 20. It moves down to 18, up a little bit to 19, down to 16, up a little bit to 17, down to 14. And remember, when I said stocks don't generally move in a straight line, that's the same thing as an uptrend and a downtrend. It doesn't generally just go from $20 to $19 to $18 to $17 to $6. It just don't generally move down in a straight line. So think about a downtrend as going down some stairs. Instead of climbing stairs, we're walking downstairs. All right. Now, even though we still have, these are still peaks, okay? So these are still considered swing highs because it's at the peak. It's at the top of the turning point before it starts decreasing the price. So we have $20. It turns and curves and goes down to 18. So $20 is a swing high. That 18 curves and starts going up to 19. That 18 is a swing low. Once it curves and starts changing directions and the price increases to 19, that is also a swing high. However, 19 is lower than 20, so that makes it a lower swing high, but we slash out the swing and it becomes a lower high. All right. It's still a swing high. 19 is a lower swing high, which is abbreviated as LH because we slash out the swing and it just becomes a lower high. LH. It's still at the mountaintop. It's still at the peak. It's still at the top of the graph. So it's still a swing high, but it's just lower. The new swing high is lower than the previous swing high because 19 is less than 20. And then when we move on down, because remember that swing high changes direction. It turns, it swings and changes directions. And we come down to 16. 16 becomes a swing low, a new swing low. But guess what? That 16 is lower than the previous 18 swing low. 16 becomes a lower swing low, but remember we slash out the swing and it just becomes a lower low because 16 is less than the previous swing low, which was 18. The new swing low is lower or less than the previous swing low. And on forward, once that price changes direction, turns or swings around in the opposite direction, it goes up to 17. 17 becomes a new swing high. But that swing high is lower than the previous swing high. So 17 will become a lower high. Then it swings around and goes down to 14, which becomes a new swing low. But that new swing low is lower or less than the previous swing low, so it becomes a lower low because it's lower than the previous swing low. Got it? And when you start, let's put them together. When you start seeing lower highs plus lower lows plus lower highs, you get a downtrend because what does this graph look like it's doing? Going down, it's traveling down. Lower highs plus lower lows plus lower highs equals a downtrend. All right. Look at that. We know what a swing high is, a swing low is, higher highs, higher lows, lower highs and lower lows. All right. Now, remember, a little trick is just higher highs plus higher lows equals an uptrend because you're still going high. That first word is high. On both of those, high, higher high, higher lows. The first word, high. So we're going up. We high, we up. Lower highs plus lower lows. That first word is low. So it's a downtrend because we low, we down on the ground. That's the way that you can remember it. All right. And remember, in an uptrend, both important highs and lows, so the swing highs and the swing lows, are still generally moving upwards in price. They're still increasing. And in a downtrend, both the general swing highs and lows are moving lower. They're getting lower and lower. They're decreasing.